Do you ever get the feeling that something's just not right? Except you can't pinpoint exactly what's wrong. You just have this general feeling that something's not right. That's the feeling I have about the world right now. There's just something not right with the world. And I'm not a pastor who is going to point out these certain wrongs that I think are the cause of this feeling, because I think that doesn't help the problem we need to identify. Because I know we all feel there's just something not right in the world, but I don't think it's something that we can pinpoint on this problem or that problem. Jesus said that when Holy Spirit would come, it would prove the world wrong. He used the word counselor or advocate to describe Holy Spirit, and said Holy Spirit would come and prove the world wrong about three things: sin, righteousness, and judgment. What Jesus is teaching is that Holy Spirit would come and prove to the world what is right, what is wrong, and what is just. Another way of describing it would be Holy Spirit coming to expose the world for what it is, that's sin, but that also Holy Spirit would come to expose the world for what it ought to be, that is the righteousness piece, and also to show the world what it must and shall be, that's the judgment or God's justice piece. The problem with the way the world is right now is that it causes us most often to be complacent. We say, well, that's just how it is these days, or we are asked to adjust to the new normal. And even if we feel like there's something that ought to be done, or if we know the right thing to do, doing the right thing is challenging, it's risky, and it may bring rejection. But complacency is a problem. Accepting the world as it is a problem, because complacency runs the risk of making us complicit. And you see, Jesus wasn't complacent with the world as it is. He wasn't complacent with a world ruled by sin. Instead, he came to save it. He says in the Gospels that he wasn't complacent with the world. Instead, he came to conquer the world. In John 16, he says, I've said these things to you so that you will have peace in me. In the world you will have distress, but be encouraged, because I have conquered the world. And he prayed that we would be conquerors in the world as well. That we would be in the world, but not of the world. That we would not belong to the world, because he didn't belong to the world. And what he gave us was Holy Spirit to empower us to go into the world and continue to prove it wrong about certain things. We are called to continue Jesus' own ministry by letting Holy Spirit do its work through our lives. And Paul gave us this great sort of illustration or this description of our lives in Romans chapter 8 when he referred to us as the first fruits of the Spirit. What this helps us understand is that our role is to go and help Holy Spirit continue to prove the world wrong by showing the world the fruits of the Spirit. To prove the world wrong about seeking to control others by showing the world self-control. To prove the world wrong about harshness and being harsh by showing the world gentleness. To prove the world wrong about falsehood by showing the world faithfulness. To prove the world wrong about selfishness by showing the world generosity. To prove the world wrong about intolerance by showing the world kindness. To prove the world wrong about frustration by showing the world patience. To prove the world wrong about violence and conflict and war by showing the world peace. To prove the world wrong about anger by showing the world joy. To prove the world wrong about hate by showing the world love. Our love of God supremely and our love of one another genuinely. So let us go and prove the world wrong about such things so that maybe we can be a part of help making the world feel right again. We worship every Sunday at 10:20. And remember, wherever you are, God is, and all will be well.